Mr. Jola, a lot of people thought that hell was going to let loose. Any figures to back what has happened in terms of security? You are the percentage man. You are the one who tells us.
Well, the police said they would deploy 30,000. Civil defense, 19,997. Army, 4,390. And DSSS, 2,000. We don't even know for immigration. That's 56,300 and customs. That's 56,367.
Was that more than what we had the last time?
Extremely. The last time we had 18,000 police and about 5,000 civil defense.
In Anambra?
No, I'm talking about the last Ekiti. In Anambra, we had about, I think, 26,000. But Anambra has 2.1 million voters and 21 local governments. This state has 913,000. So we have 12 security men, 12 voters with PVC to 1 security man. And when you go around, you have 4 or 5 police in a polling unit. That's 5 times 2,195. That's about 11,000. Where are the remaining 19,000? The civil defense, you can't see 2 per polling unit. But yet, 20,000 divided by 2,195 is about 9. We didn't see even 2 civil defense per police. So where are they? You understand?
If you rate the deployment and the usage and the outcome, how would you rate it?
I'll say that there was a gap between what they said they would deploy and what we saw. A massive gap. But they were fortunate to have good security, which clearly shows that the deployment was overestimated. We did not need that number to achieve this security, but we didn't see that number here. Are you getting the point? So it was an overestimation of number, but the security was intact. But I do have issues with some of the conduct. There was professional conduct, but there were cases of party agents of a particular party being chased out. And there is no collation center that does not have at least 10, 15 police. And collation centers are just 177 wards, 16 LGAs, and the state collation center, not the 2,195. So my point is, how can security be in a collation center, yet party agents of some parties were driven out of that place? Once that happens, any result coming from that place for that particular party will be seen to be unfair. Right. So I think that in the future, the security should never allow such to happen.
Okay, let's go away from security quickly and talk about conduct and some of the figures. If you can throw some of those figures on the screen so our viewers can make a sense of what this all means altogether. From the total number of votes cast to the total number of the registered voters and the number of votes scored by each of the candidates and the political parties, 35 of them. There are some political parties that add 1, 2 votes. There's some with 30 votes. From your analysis, what do you make of the figures generally?
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's still not as bad as some cases. We have 2 parties giving us 97% of the votes cast. And then the remaining 33 parties giving us 3%. So 33 parties collected 9,014 votes, right, out of about 400,000. So that is a very big issue, and this is still happening because people are just contesting, for me, for the fun of it. If a party will have a ward agent, party agent in the ward or in the LGA, and in the whole local government cannot score 1, score 0, it means even his party agent did not vote for him or her. That's the meaning.
That's a problem.
There's a problem. And I think it's also costing INEC. As you see in this election, INEC adjusted the ballot paper. So normally in Anambra, we had 37 candidates. In this election, we had 35. But in Anambra, the ballot was long, but single column. Now the ballot was short, but double column, right? And that also, increases the cumbersome nature of the ballot paper. So I think the political parties...
And in 2019, the presidential election, we might have almost 64 possibility of 64 presidential candidates.
Or 68, yeah.
We have a possibility of having about 90 presidential candidates if INEC, from what we understand, that if they register all the political parties in the offing, so there's a problem.
There's a problem, and when 3 days to the election or a few days to the election, 25 political parties say they are endorsing a candidate, and yet they have brought cost to the process. If they want to endorse a candidate, they should not have brought that cost because INEC has developed they would have just done ballot paper with about 10 or 12 parties.
Yeah. I think what needs to happen is that going forward, INEC needs to put a condition for appearing on the ballot.
Yeah.
You can't be scoring 1 vote, 2 votes, and then you appear on the ballot. In fact, there is an analysis that we've done here on China's television that we'll probably bring out at some point. There is a political party in the last 5 elections that has not gotten up to 1,000 votes in general election and in every election.
Parties evolve. In a democracy, is evolution. You don't legislate them out of existence. So what has to happen is that we need to come in such a manner that we say, look, if you fulfill X, Y, Z condition, you appear on the ballot for presidential.
Right.
If you fulfill this other condition, you appear for governorship. But
just before we close, I wanted to talk about vote buying, and I'll begin with you. Issues of vote buying was a major concern of civil society organization. A lot of people. Did you see that?
I didn't personally see it, but members of my team, of the African Union ECOSOC team in various locations, some members of our team identified that. They saw that it was documented. It was not, well, it depends, whereby it shouldn't even take place to start off with. It is wrong. It shouldn't take place by any of the parties. However, it was documented. The gravity of it, we don't know as of yet. We're still, collating all our statistics in place. But the fact that even one took place, then there is a fundamental problem.
All right. Let me get our closing thoughts on this one now. We just have a few seconds to close. Issues of vote buying was major one for this election. What do you make of it? How massive, how bad was it?
So it has progressed. We've had these conversations. It progressed from Edo, from Edo to Ondo to Anambra. The figures may vary, but we knew that you either had a bazaar in Edo, and then to Anambra it became free for all, and we kept putting that on the front border. But there's a larger conversation that needs to take place around that issue: the complicity of security agents in allowing that to happen. Because truly, it's in their very, face that these things take place. But beyond that is that we do not need to give comfort to those who engage in that inducement. Because the argument in Ekiti is that, it's poverty, if you give people 3,000 naira, is a lot of money in Ekiti. And I say, wow. Then if that becomes the reason, what are we going to argue when an armed robber says, I'm into armed robbery because of poverty? Right. Would we accept that as well?
Mr. Close this segment for
us. So
issues of vote buying.
Yeah, so very quickly, I'll just say that the vote buying is a very serious problem. It's worse than ballot box snatching, because not only does it influence the outcome, but it also kills the conscience of the people. It's very negative. And what is going to happen is that people are going to look at 120,000 polling units, 80 million voters, and people will calculate 2019, and they will say we need $1 billion to win this election. And if we go that route, we are going to buy a president and buy senators, and it's a problem. Just last thing I would like to say, we had 8,072 cancellations in this election. We had 113,000 in Anambra. So this is a tremendous improvement. Okay. And that's the lowest we've had in the past 4 years.
All right. I must sincerely thank the three wise men and women on the program tonight who will be bringing some very useful lessons into this election. Ms. Madueke, thank you so much for coming on the program. Mr. Ezenwanwogo, thank you. And Mr. Ajijola, thank you so much for your thoughts on the program.